This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
Civic Media News, I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. President Biden is back in Wisconsin today talking about a new student loan forgiveness program.
That plan would be more targeted than the sweeping program struck down by the courts earlier in Biden's administration, this time focusing on offering relief to borrowers facing financial hardship or challenges due to higher interest rates.
Michelle Franzen reporting. Local election clerks say they'll do their best to do their jobs and serve voters under two new constitutional amendments passed by voters last week. Wausau City Clerk Caitlin Bernard tells Capital City Sunday her office will do its best to run safe and secure elections. Private money is banned from boosting the ballot count. Bernard says she's working on backup plans in case she needs more money. Oral arguments are today in a Madison courtroom where a judge will decide if a group trying to recall Assembly Speaker Robin Vos will get more time to respond to his claims. The recall group wants to know which district Vos might be subject to recall in. The group's first effort failed when the Wisconsin Elections Commission ruled it didn't collect enough valid signatures. The Universities of Wisconsin has redesigned its website in hopes of boosting enrollment. The new wisconsin.edu makes information about enrollment and degree programs easier to find. It's the latest effort by the UW system to boost enrollment after nearly a decade of declines. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is giving $22 million to farmers who practice rotational grazing. Kevin Mahalko is a dairy farmer in Gilman. He says rotational grazing has helped him survive difficult stretches and keeps his costs down.
The cow is doing more of the work and using fencing instead of as much equipment. It cuts down on a lot of repairs and maintenance and diesel fuel.
Margaret Crome is with the Michael Fields Agricultural Institute. She says this kind of help is good for new farmers just getting started.
That technology and others that are emerging has made it a much less expensive investment than many, many approaches to farming.
The deadline to apply for a grant is May 26th. Southeastern Wisconsin is the best part of the state for catching a glimpse of today's partial solar eclipse. That includes Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, Lake Geneva, and Janesville. The forecast calls for clouds over much of the rest of Wisconsin, especially to the north. Wisconsin is not within the path of totality, so the effects here aren't optimal anyway. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. This week is Severe Weather Awareness Week. The city of De Pere is offering residents a weather radio and emergency preparedness guides. Starting today while supplies last, residents of the city who drop by the De Pere Health Department in City Hall will receive a Midland Crank NOAA weather radio that's been pre-programmed to the NOAA weather frequency for the area. De Pere Health Department says the distribution of the radios is to help to ensure the safety and well-being of residents during times of crisis. Folks in Green Bay who come across a wild animal situation are reminded to call a wildlife removal service or pest control rather than the Green Bay Police Department. In a social media post, the Green Bay PD said with spring comes increased calls, but the PD can only handle situations where a domesticated animal such as a cat or dog is in immediate danger or if there's an animal bite incident. The solar eclipse has the attention of the nation today. Here in our area, skies will be partly cloudy, and in northeast Wisconsin, the eclipse starts at about 12:54 p.m. The maximum coverage will be at around 2:09, and the eclipse will end at 3:21. The moon will block out about 86% of the sun in our area. The body of an adult male was found floating in Lake Butamore near the Wyowash Trail in the town of Oshkosh Saturday. Winnebago County Sheriff's Office says several agencies helped with the incident. Pending notifications to the family, no further information is being released at this time. The incident remains an active investigation. 2 people were killed in a head-on collision in State Highway 29 near County Highway VV in Hobart Saturday morning. When police arrived, one of the vehicles was fully engulfed in flames. The crash is being investigated. Both drivers died on the scene. The names are being withheld pending notification of the family. When veterans return from service wounded or with PTSD, the simplest relationship may be the one that helps them the most. B.J. Ganem, a Wisconsin veterans advocate, founded Sierra Delta. According to Ganem, most veterans do not need an ADA service dog that goes everywhere with them, but a dog could be hugely beneficial.
However, the majority of us could really benefit from reestablishing that sense of team by having a well-trained dog in our life.
Sierra Delta offers dog training grants in 3 categories: basic training, advanced training, including emotional support and PTSD, and medical assistance training. Over the years, the Greater Green Bay YMCA has had to adapt and change to keep the membership going. Emily Smith, Executive Director of Financial Development for the Y, says the YMCA is more than a gym and a pool. There are pickleball courts, a ninja class for kids, and programs for youth and teens.
Like our Y Achievers program, the kids go out and they learn about different businesses and youth and government programs. So there's a lot beyond just the swim and gym.
The Greater Green Bay YMCA serves members through 5 different locations. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
The Brewers rock Seattle. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers are in Cincinnati to open a 4-game set against the Reds after winning their weekend series over the Mariners. Milwaukee with a 12-4 victory yesterday, despite starting pitcher Colin Ray battling the flu. Pat Murphy.
Colin, as you may or may not know, was sick, had a stomach virus, it looks like, and had lost a lot of fluids in every way you can.
At 6-2, what's the team's mindset? Brewers pitcher Colin Ray.
We got to all come in here and not try and do too much. Just keep being aggressive and competing in the box, competing on the mound.
Mariners pitcher Colin Snyder had to leave in the 4th after taking a line drive to his left knee.
Yeah, it's a contusion. He got smoked. I'll give him credit for trying to stay in there. He knew where we were at with the bullpen.
Manager Scott Service. NBA, the Bucks lose again, this time 122-109 to the Knicks. Milwaukee's now lost 4 in a row at home and 6 of their last 7 games.
We have 4 games left? And all playoff teams, maybe that's a blessing for us. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
That's the Bucks head coach, Doc Rivers. Is it a lack of effort? Damian Lillard.
If you let teams start to believe and feel good about themselves, runs happen. I think that's kind of been the story of these last, 4, 5, 6 games. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better.
The Bucks host the number 1 seed Celtics tomorrow night. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Maggie Gyllenhaal's latest film is a monster. Gyllenhaal is directing The Bride, which stars Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster. The New York Post reports the director shared photos on social media of the Oscar-winning Bale and castmate Jessie Buckley. The Bride is the second directorial effort from Gyllenhaal and is expected to hit theaters in October 2025. And so you're telling me there's a chance news. Modern Family actress Sofia Vergara and her husband have reached a settlement in their divorce. Vergara says the split happened over a disagreement about having children. She has a 32-year-old son from a previous marriage and doesn't want to go down that road again. Vergara says in her next relationship, she's just hoping for a meat and potatoes guy who is average looking and doesn't make that much money. You almost believed that, didn't you? Michael J. Fox says he would love to act again if someone would offer him a role. The 62-year-old actor who has suffered from Parkinson's for decades now says he is not ready to retire. The actor says his priorities have shifted and he has been focused on family in recent years, but he remains optimistic that he will act again. Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld creator Larry David says it's inappropriate to recline your seat on an airplane, and if it were up to him, they would do away with the option because he says no one wants to look at your head, adding that no one should lay back into a person's lap. David ranted about the procedure on The Rich Eisen Show. When Eisen said that's why the button is there, David said we should eliminate those buttons. Personally, I think we should put a stop to people who go barefoot on planes first. Pat Sajak will be giving the wheel a final spin in June. The 77-year-old Wheel of Fortune host is retiring after 40 years. In his time as host, Sajak has been nominated for 19 Emmys and won 3 times. Sajak has agreed to stay on as a consultant for 3 years. 3 years? How hard is it? Spin the wheel, buy a vowel, say aw, and pretend you care when some idiot lost because they guessed an X. Sajak's last episode will be June 7th. Taking over for Sajak will be Ryan Seacrest. Seacrest said, "It's been a joy to watch Pat and Vanna," translation, mostly Vanna, for the last few decades. Letter-turner extraordinaire White agreed to stay on the show after a pay dispute last year, after which she received her first raise in 20 years. White's time at wheel predates Sajak. She's been turning letters since Super Nut Job. Chuck Woolery was the host. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, every night between 7 and 9 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly cloudy today. We'll get to around 60 for a high this afternoon. The wind out of the south at around 5 to 15. Tonight, a few off and on showers, otherwise mostly cloudy, 42. Tomorrow, a sprinkle or two in the morning. Clearing in the afternoon, 59 by Wednesday, partly cloudy, with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 48.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM.